Joining me is head football coach Norm Esch. Talking with Coach Kim Nelson-Brown. Talking with Tommy Gilbert from the swim team. And joining us is Coach Oz of women's soccer. Welcome back to the Coaches Show. I'm Derek Bowman. Joining us now, men's basketball coach Ron Rose. And Coach Rose, you now have two official games under the belt, 1-1 after the Sikma Hall of Fame Invitational. Let's start with the Yeshiva game. First of all, just having them here after going there last year, what was it like to welcome them into the Shirk?
Well, they were such good hosts a year ago, and that was such a memorable experience for our team and our program. Them coming in, we wanted to be kind of repay them and be good hosts as well. And we've developed really a friendship, a lot of respect between the two programs. So it was wonderful having them here, and had a heck of a game with them as well.
Well, I was, reading on Twitter a little bit because Yeshiva fans were on there who couldn't be here, and I saw one of them read, even though they lost both games, they really appreciated the competition and really enjoyed the camaraderie that they've seen over the two games. Yeah, they came down, and it's just a quality group of people, and now they won their second game. They beat Webster, and They lost their first two, but both were to St. Joe's, was ranked 13th. We were ranked 21st. So Coach really kind of upped the competition early in the season, and it was a really good game. I mean, it could have gone either way. You get out there the first weekend for us, and you don't know exactly what you're going to see because you've got nerves, you've got different guys on the floor, different team, and it was kind of played out a little bit what you'd expect, a lot of good and a lot of areas we got to get better as well. Well, let's talk a little bit about the game. You won 76-71 was the final, but it was close down. I mean, they had a chance at the end with about 15, 20 seconds left to take the lead by one. Shot missed, and not many of them were missed by Samet, but he did miss a shot there right towards the end. Zevi Samet put up 38 points, which I believe I heard Eric and Joel talk. That's the third most against Wesleyan by a visiting player in the Shirk Center. I won't remind you of the other two, Francis, and I forget who the other guy was, who put up 39. I think 44 was the other one. But what was it like trying to slow Samet down, scoring those 38 points? The only one in double digits for them, by the way.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have a big body work coming in. So we knew he was a terrific shooter. We didn't know he could go off for 38 points. We knew we had our goal was to limit his three-point shot attempts. Obviously not successful at doing that. He's a tremendous player, and where we really made a mistake was we allowed him to get going. Going in, we said we got to make his catch shoot tough, and he got about 3 or 4 open looks. And then when you have a shooter like that who makes has some good looks and it goes in, then the basket starts to look really big. And that's what happened. I mean, then he was feeling it, and we had a tough time after that point.
Well, and just to stress that point, we saw that in the game against Webster, that he didn't score for a long time, and then he got a little floater early, and Q was doing the game with me, and he says, now watch out, he's going to start, and sure enough, next 4 or 5 shots, boom, 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 all going down, and that. So you guys, tough to stop them, but you did slow down some of the rest of the guys. Bardachev, Idovici, Zucker, and Markovic were the starters. Batesh, you held him to 1 for 5, and in the next game, I think he was 4 for 6 from three-point land. So you did some work there.
Yeah, early in the year, a lot of people we have so many new players, they don't really know our guys' strengths, weaknesses, areas. Same coming in, in terms of you've got what the guys might have done last year if you had that. When you're playing a guy that is really scoring it, you've got two choices as a coach. You can alter your defense and throw a bunch of guys at him, or you can try to, again, make it tough on him and limit everybody else. And so those are hard decisions. We were fortunate to come away with a win against Yeshiva. Again, we should have probably put it away where it didn't come down right to the wire. I was happy with our guys, though, that even though it did, we made plays down the stretch. Against Stevens Point, it was the exact opposite. They made the plays, and we didn't.
Well, I walked into the gym on Sunday morning. You were kind of wrapping up the practice I was getting ready to do because I did the play-by-play for Webster and the Yeshiva game. And one thing I heard you tell all the players at the end that just like you were before the Yeshiva game, happy to coach them into that game, you were just as happy with them after the game, even though there were mistakes made that you mentioned and things like that. But you were still excited to coach these guys. You're going to learn together, and you're going to go on. And I thought that was awesome to hear.
Well, this is a great group of young men I get to coach. They're hard workers. They're coachable. They want to be good. And you know, now the test is this, and the best teams that I've coached over time have learned through losses, and oftentimes you can see that how you handle a loss determines how you play the next game. So some teams, one loss can become 2 or 3. In others, one loss can really propel you to another level of play. And so we as a group have to handle this maturely, and hopefully we can learn from our mistakes. This is a group that we knew wasn't necessarily going to come out of the gate because we're learning about each other. We're figuring out everybody's strengths. We're establishing roles, and so we're going to be a work in progress, and hopefully this will be just a learning experience, and next time out, every time we're put in these situations, we'll just be a little bit better.
Well, as I kind of look at the box scores and go through, a couple names we recognize from last year. Ryan Soroka had 16 points against Yeshiva. Lucas Heflin had 12 against Stevens Point. Nick Roper, we heard his name a little bit last year. He had 11 against Stevens Point and 14 against Yeshiva. But how about Harrison Wilmson? That's a new name for us. Tell us a little bit about
Harrison at the very end of last year was backing up Matt Laritz, and Matt didn't get off the floor very much for us late in the year. But Harrison really came on. We had a feeling he was going to have a breakout season this year. He's been slowed a little bit with a foot injury. And so we're hoping over the next 2-3 weeks that thing completely heals. We're kind of doing, kind of watching the number of minutes that he plays, trying to limit it between 10 and 20 a game. And he had a terrific 2 games. I mean, Harrison is playing really well. He's a unique player. He's got size, he's got skill, he plays really hard. I think as the year goes on, he's going to become a real problem for other teams.
Well, and I guess so. And your guys are finding him in good spots, too, from the field. 9 for 13 against Yeshiva, 6 for 9 against Stevens Point. So when you get a guy in there who can put the ball in the bucket, you know, more often than not.
Yeah, our fives between he and Evan Schneider, I think, shot 70% over the weekend. So those 2 guys did a nice job of finishing around the basket, and that's going to be one of our strengths. One of our strengths is size, and that's an advantage we're going to have. We probably need to take advantage of that even more down the stretch on Sunday.
Well, yeah, Evan Schneider, he was 4 for 5 on the weekend. So, yeah, both of them shot very well. All right, speaking of schedules, games coming up, you've got Nebraska Wesleyan on Friday at 10 a.m. That's going to be at the Barnett Center in Wax Arena in Aberdeen, South Dakota, part of the Small College Basketball Champions Classic. And then you get to play St. Joseph at noon on Saturday. So tell us a little bit about this weekend going up to South Dakota and those games.
Well, if you follow Division I basketball, they have something called the Champions Classic, which is Duke, Michigan State, Kansas, and Kentucky play every year, a tournament, and it kind of kicks off. It's one of the 4 elite Division I programs. So small college basketball started, this is the first year, a Champions Classic for Division II, Division III, and NAIA. We're very fortunate and honored to be asked to play in it in the first year. So they picked 4 of the stronger Division II, III, and NAIA programs around the country to all play at Northern State, which is in Aberdeen, South Dakota, this weekend. And so it'll be really neat. We'll get out there and play Friday morning, Saturday morning. 2 really good games. Nebraska Wesleyan, won the national championship, I believe it was 3 years ago. And then, St. Joe's is ranked 13th in the country, was ranked in the top 20 last year. And the other team, the other Division III team along with ourselves is Wisconsin Oshkosh, which won the national championship prior to COVID. So you've got 2 of the 3 last national champions and ourselves and St. Joe. So it should be a whale of a weekend, some great basketball, and really looking forward to connecting with some of the other coaches out there as well.
Well, I'm going to be rooting extra hard against Nebraska Wesleyan because they were our arch rival where I went to school at the time. They were NAIA, and we loved beating them, and it didn't happen too often because they are such a good program, as you talk about. And you mentioned St. Joseph. That is who Yeshiva lost their first game to.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a way to all three teams will have played each other there, and a nice matchup is both of you beat Yeshiva, but neither one easily.
Well, they're very St. Joe is very good. They are a veteran team, juniors, seniors, 2 or 3 grad students, fifth-year guys. They were good a year ago, so they return a lot. They are the team that Jim Calhoun, the former coach, UConn coach, was at until last year. And so this is really the team that he had recruited before officially retiring from coaching. So that's going to be a very challenging game. And Nebraska Wesleyan plays a unique style. So they're going to, every time out, it's one of the things you do over the course of a season. You play different teams, different styles. You see different offenses you have to defend, different defenses. And that's what really builds experiences and gets you to be a quality basketball team by the end of the year.
Well, we talked with Coach Maya Smith a little bit earlier in this episode about the scheduling they had. They played number 1 this past week. They got number 2 coming up in their next game. You mentioned the 4th team that's in that tournament is UW Oshkosh. You have them. When you come back, you head back up there to play them on the next Saturday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to talk with your scheduler also to figure that all out.
I tell you what, yeah, Maya and I, we need our heads checked, don't we, Derek? Oshkosh right now is ranked number 2 in the country. So, and it's been the Jack Sikma invite that we just did has been a neat thing because we've been able to connect with, like, Wisconsin Oshkosh came to playing it last year, and we had a heck of a game. And then we're returning the trip next year. Stevens Point came down and played this year. We're returning the trip to Stevens Point next year. So we've been able to do a little bit of that where we're connecting with really some of the best small college programs in the country. We're always – I've said this, you could make your schedule to get some 20 and 30-point wins. Our guys don't want that. We don't want that. We don't think that's what prepares you for conference play. It doesn't prepare you, and as well as just loving the competition. And our guys want to play the best. I want to try to play the best schedule we can, and we've succeeded in that way. It may give me some gray hairs here, Derek, but it certainly really helps our team develop.
Well, we'll reiterate what Maya said. She doesn't care how many wins she gets. And I said, no, you care how many wins you get in March. And she said, absolutely. That's what people remember for are your March wins, those postseasons. And, Coach, we appreciate what you do with the team, and we love watching your teams and how well you do with them. And, again, thank you for being on the Coach's Show. Well,
I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everyone who came out and supported us this weekend. I think this is going to be a fun team to coach and follow because you're going to see our group get better and better as the year goes on and exciting things to come.
That is Coach Ron Rose. I'm Derek Bowman, and you are listening to the Titan Coaches Show.